Hi, I'm attorney Ben Glass, and this is Live Life Big, where each week we get to talk to some of America's top entrepreneurs and small business owners to find out what it is that makes them successful. On today's program, we're talking to Houston attorney Brian Beckcom. Brian, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
You are a very famous, actually, maritime attorney in Houston. You've got a great practice. I had the opportunity to visit your office several months ago. Tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I went to Texas A&M University, which is about an hour from Houston, and I was in an organization called the Corps of Cadets, which is a military organization. And by the time I was a senior, I had a lot of the younger guys coming to me when they got in trouble, and they wanted me to help them out. And I kind of enjoyed.
Because you look like a good, safe guy.
Yeah, right. And you know, I enjoyed helping people out. And so, you know, when I graduated from college, I decided to go to law school. And I was fortunate enough to get into a very, very good law school, the University of Texas, which is in Austin, Texas. Went to law school there, graduated from law school, made pretty good grades, and got a good job at a big firm, making more money than I ever dreamed I would make. But the work wasn't very satisfying to me personally. I was representing, you know, big insurance companies, big nameless, faceless corporations, and after about 2 years of making a lot of money but not having a lot of personal fulfillment, I decided to go off on my own.
You got that entrepreneurial niche, and whether you're a lawyer or running another small business, a lot of people get that. Yeah. What do you know now that you wish you knew back when you went to start your own practice?
Well, I think what I had to figure out on my own was when you're starting your own business, I don't care if it's a law office or any other kind of business, professional or otherwise, your number one responsibility to your business is to know how to bring business in, like for a lawyer, to know how to bring cases into the firm.
And that's one of the hardest things to learn, because I know at your law school, they didn't teach you any of that.
They don't teach you how to do that. I mean, they teach you what the law is, but they don't teach you marketing. You know, you can be the best lawyer in the country, but if no clients hire you, it doesn't matter. So I had to take a crash course in marketing my business and in getting out there and telling people what we were doing. And you know, you were very helpful with that. I read a lot of other things, and I basically taught myself marketing in about 6 months.
And you've done a very good job with it. What do you think is the biggest thing you do now in the law firm to get clients to pay attention to Brian Beckcom and to come to the firm? You know, if you're going to talk to a small business owner, what's the number one thing you do?
Well, I mean, there's two things. I think the number
typical lawyer can't answer the question straight.
Well, I mean, you know, there really are two things I think you need to do, and number one, and it wasn't like this when I started. It for sure wasn't like this when you started, however many years ago that was. This thing called the internet.
Right.
And you know, when I went to college, I got a degree in computer science, so I kind of knew about technology already.
Were you still using cards that were punched? That's what they did when I was there.
I'm not quite that old. I'm getting there. But now the internet existed when I was in college, but it was in its formative stages. And you know, by the time I started my own business, if you were a lawyer and didn't have an internet presence, you kind of were behind the curve. So I think to answer your question, you have to have an internet presence of some kind. Right. And the second thing you have to do is you have to understand that, and again, this doesn't matter what business you're in, if you could do the best job for your client, you could sell the best cookies to your customers or whatever it is you're selling, but people don't remember that unless you give them a reason to. So the second thing is your customer list, or your client list, the list of people you've helped out is the most valuable asset you have. And you know, I kind of regret the fact that when I started my own practice, I didn't keep a list of people that I had either couldn't take their cases but had talked to or had helped them. if I would have done that, you know, been doing that for 5 years now. If I'd have been doing that for 10 years, you know, my list would be 3 times as big.
That's a great piece of advice because, you know, you're right. Most business owners are spending time, energy, and money going after the next client, next patient, the next customer, rather than, you know, working the list of folks who do know you, who have approached you at some point, and saying, hey, I'm still there, and you can actually get a lot of leverage. Let me talk to you a little bit about the practice. You are a maritime lawyer, and you know, there's folks watching the program who might say, I think I know what that is, but what do you guys actually do?
Well, we basically represent people in any kind of injury or wrongful death case, but what I've ended up doing is doing this thing called maritime law or offshore injury law. And what it means is if you're hurt on the water, and there's a totally different set of laws that apply to your case, and I'm kind of a specialist in that. I handle a lot of those cases. And so, you know, the short answer is if you're hurt on the water, I don't care whether it's a river or the ocean or the Mississippi River or the Gulf Coast or the North Sea, then I'm the kind of lawyer that you would call.
So actually, you have a practice in Houston where you do what we would call general personal injury, but very serious cases and wrongful death cases. And you've also developed a reputation on a national level because the Maritime is not limited to people in Houston. Right. But anyone who's injured on some sort of a vessel, seriously injured, you can help them. And as I understand it, there's actually very few of lawyers who are real specialists and experts in maritime law. So let me ask you this question. Sure. Someone who is injured, you mentioned the internet. There's all sorts of websites out there. There's all sorts of TV ads. How do they go about finding a good, experienced maritime lawyer?
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a couple steps you should take. Number one, people need to understand that, and you know this, Ben, that if you have a law degree, you can advertise for just about any case you want. So a lot of lawyers have websites that say, I do X, Y, Z in maritime law. And the reality is, like you pointed out, that there is a very, very small number of lawyers that actually handle maritime cases on any sort of a regular basis. So it's hard to tell just by going to the internet.
It's very hard to tell. Like you said, anybody can say anything, even on a TV ad. You see these ads on TV, and then you read the small print that actually usually says something like, I'm not going to be the lawyer handling your case. I'm just going to refer it out, maybe to somebody like you. But so what are sort of the 2 or 3 steps someone should, steps to take or questions asked to test? Gee, do we have a really experienced maritime attorney? Yeah,
here's some questions you can ask. Number one, tell me or provide me with a list of cases like mine that you've handled before. And you know, lawyers can advertise for any sort of case, but what they can't do is they can't just make up their success. They can't say I've handled 100 maritime cases if they haven't. That's unethical.
Right. So they ought to be able to show you a track record.
They should be able to show you a track record. If they don't have a track record, then that tells you very clearly that they aren't the lawyer for you, in my opinion. The other thing is, I think this is important, the State Bar of Texas and bars all across the country that regulate lawyers recommend that people consult with a board-certified lawyer. And, you know, in Texas, only 2% of lawyers are board-certified.
Meaning they've gone through an accreditation process, likely with recommendations from other lawyers you've worked against, judges you've been in front of. You've had to typically pass a written test. And as you say, very few lawyers actually meet and become certified in any specialty. So that's something we can look at.
Yeah, you can look at that. That is a real good indicator of somebody that has the experience you're looking for. And you know, you don't have to talk to a board-certified lawyer. You don't have to hire a board-certified lawyer.
You don't have to have a board-certified surgeon take your appendix out either.
That's right. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Because what that tells you, you know, lawyers can say just about anything they want to about themselves on the internet as long as it's not completely misleading, but they can't say they're board-certified if they're not. Correct. Some other third party has vetted them to make sure that they actually know what they're doing. So those are the 2 things that I would look for.
Tell us a little bit about the firm today. Again, I was lucky I got to actually visit the office and meet your terrific staff, see your facilities there. It's a really cool place. But for those who are watching this program, what would they see if they're dealing with your law firm?
Well, what they would see is the whole kind of experience when you come in the office is designed to make people feel as comfortable as they can, because the kind of cases we handle are people that are hurt.
Tragic cases.
They're tragic cases, or families that have lost a loved one. And most people have never dealt with a lawyer before. They've never dealt with a lawsuit, so we try to make people feel comfortable when they come in. We've got 6 lawyers, 3 of whom are board certified. Every single case has a team of at least 3 people assigned to it, including at least 1 board certified lawyer. You'll get a senior case manager, and then you'll get another lawyer on your case. And the idea is, some firms will push your case off to a junior associate, and you will never talk to the lawyer you thought you hired.
You see him on TV, you see him at the end of the case, and you don't get to talk to him at all.
Yeah, or they'll push you off on a paralegal or something like that. That's not the way we work. We feel like if you hire us, you ought to get us. And so, when you come into the office, the whole experience is designed to kind of put your mind at ease.
Now, one of the great things you've done is you are an author, and I know that one of your philosophies is, look, if you've been injured, you might not need a lawyer, but let's get you some information first so you'll know, because insurance adjusters and folks in the companies are going to be asking you questions if you've been injured, on a vessel. Tell us a little bit about your book, how folks can get it, and then we'll talk about the website real quick.
Yeah, well, I've actually written about 8 books now, but the book that kind of started it all, and the book that I think I'm most proud of, is my first book, it's called The Insider's Guide to Winning Your Maritime Injury Case. And that book is on my website, www.maritimeaccidentattorney.com. It's free. You can get it instantly emailed to you or mailed or both. And the whole point of that book is, look, whether you hire my firm or a different firm, at least make sure you get this information up front so you don't mess up your case before it even gets off the ground.
Right. We want to try to level the playing field between the company and the insurance companies and the injured person. You've also recently written a very cool book about success. Has nothing to do, it doesn't brag about you as a lawyer. It's got really cool stories, inspirational stories. Tell us why you wrote that book. I mean, you're a lawyer.
Yeah, I read a lot about success strategies, and I read about successful people and what they do to be successful, both professionally and personally. And about 6 months ago, I decided that I kind of felt obligated to share this with people. So I've been writing a monthly newsletter for about 2 years, and every month I write a story about success. And so what I did is I took that 2 years worth of material and turned it into a book so people could have it all in one place. And I'm not saying I have the secret to success or anything like that, but if somebody can get one good nugget of information out of that book, then I think I've done some good in the world.
By the way, if you're a small business owner, Brian just gave you two huge tips. Number one, the monthly mailed newsletter to your clients, your patients, your fan base. And number two, how can we repurpose that? You said 7 books, you said? 8 books? 7 books. It's tremendous. And I know you've probably got some more in the pipeline. Those are a couple of really, really big tips. Well, one more time, where can they find you? What number can someone call if they have a question or they want to talk to you about representation?
Yeah, the phone number is, the toll-free number is 877-724-7800. The main website is www.vb, V as in Victor, B as in Brian, attorneys, vbattorneys.com. If you're a Maritime client, the Maritime site is maritimeaccidentattorney.com.
I'm Ben Glass, and this is Live Life Big. Make sure to tune in next time where you get to meet some of America's most successful small business owners and learn the secrets of success. Brian Beckcom, thanks for being on the program today.